Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, hello, and thank you for having me. It's been a great honor for me to be your master of ceremony today, to be here on behalf of the organizing committee and welcoming each of you today on Saturday on October 24th, 2020. And we are delighted to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this opening ceremony of International Conference on Business and Industry Innovation, or ICBII 2020, organized by Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, collaborated with University of Saint Anthony Philippines, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan Yogyakarta, and supported by Asosiasi Pendidik Indonesia, Universitas Muhammadiyah Magelang, and Universitas Muhammadiyah Bangka Belitung. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next few hours, this meeting will provide you plenty of opportunities to discuss, share knowledge, and insight about business and industries reshaping as the big theme. And the whole session of this conference is broadcasted live streaming on YouTube and will be uploaded in Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo YouTube channel. Participants can join the live stream on YouTube, and by joining this event, you understand and agree that your comment will be recorded and uploaded. Thank you. Before we proceed the whole program today, we would like to express our sincere gratitude to the Honorable keynote speakers. The first is Mrs. Maria Joyce Iglesia Idian, Doctor of Business Administration from University of Saint Anthony, Philippines. Good morning, Mrs. Maria. And then the second is Mrs. Hayati Muktiasi, PhD from Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Yogyakarta. And the third, good morning, Mrs. Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mrs. Hayati.
Good morning.
And the third is Mrs. Dr. Dwi Irawati, SAMSE from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo. Good morning, Mrs. Ira.
Good morning, Mrs. Ide.
Okay, thank you. And then the Honorable Rector of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, Mr. Dr. Rafiq Nurhadi, Magister Agama. Assalamualaikum, Bapak. And all the distinguished guests, committees, and participants of the ICBII 2020. Excellencies, guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to inform you that this conference framework aims to establish international scholars and academic community in business and industry innovation, particularly for reshaping and managing challenges from the changing environment context of business industries due to the COVID-19 pandemic in all over the world. And in addition, this conference is also intended to connect the scientists from the field of economics, business, and humanities, as well as professionals from various spectrums. And then next, please allow me to share the whole session today. It will be divided into some sessions. The first is opening. The second is a welcoming speech from the General Chairman. And then the opening remark, primary speech from the keynote speakers, and the last is closing. Excellencies, participants, ladies and gentlemen, before going to the next session, let's open the agenda today by saying Basmalah together. Now, to formally kick off the agenda this morning, it's our pleasure to invite the General Chairman of the ICBII 2020 to deliver the welcoming speech. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Budianto, SAMSE.
our speaker, Maria Jo Iglesias, Dr. Dwi Irawati, dari sana. Cek, cek. And Mrs. Hayati Mukti Asih, PhD from Asia. All of the participants of ACB II 2000 and give thank you for Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the opportunity of business and industry innovation. Secondly, and also participant of this conference. Thank you very much that we have 239 participants currently attending this conference. That we will reap the benefit of this seminar. I also would like to that to the University of Saint Anthony, Philippines, Universitas Muhammad Dahlan Yogyakarta, Universitas Muhammadiyah Magelang, Universitas Muhammadiyah Bangka Belitung, Asosiasi Pendidik Indonesia IPI, and the sponsor. Thank you for cooperating. Finally, we realize there are many shortcomings in presenting administrative service and also facilities. With unity, this conference, qualified and sustainable research culture in accordance with the development of science and technology may be maintained. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Mr. Budianto. And now we are continuing to the next session, that is to listen the opening remark delivered by the Rector of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, Mr. Dr. Rafiq Hadi, Magister Agama. Please welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Wika. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa mawalah. The Honorable, the keynote speaker, the Honorable, the Vice Rector, Dean, and all faculty members of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, the Honorable, the participant, and the committee of the conference, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First of all, let's thank to Allah, the Almighty God, who has given us blessing and mercy so that we can virtually assemble here in the International Conference on Business and Industry Innovation 2020 with the theme of Business and Industry Reshaping. Ladies and gentlemen, in this opportunity, I would like to say welcome to Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, and also to express my sincere gratitude to everyone who has joined our conference, either as speaker or as participant, especially to the keynote speakers, Dr. Maria Choi from University of Saint Anthony, Dr. Hayati Mukti Asih from Universitas Muhammadiyah, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, and Dr. Dwi Irawati from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo to share their valuable ideas and experience as grad scholars. Ladies and gentlemen, during COVID-19 outbreaks, our life aspects have changed dramatically, including business and industry. The change covers human attitudes and behavior in terms of custom, pattern in consumption, technique in business, and interaction. This pandemic era has also accelerated technology in banking and finance with the use of digital payments. Also, business model have changed and startup business has grown up fast due to massive use of technology. While we are in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis, it's impossible to look forward and plan ahead. We need to understand how decision made during the crisis and its may affect post-crisis performance. Some decisions include the loss of profit will become foundation of strength of after crisis. Moreover, decisions made early in crisis may not align with the later development of the crisis. We need a better understanding of this interrelationship. Therefore, I am optimistic that this conference will give a lot of contribution to the effort of enhancing our business practice. In this opportunity, I also want to give my deepest appreciation to the committee and, and the conference partner who have worked hard to organize this event. And I hope that the experience is organizing this conference will become a valuable knowledge for your life. Ladies and gentlemen, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo is an established university with 5 faculties: Faculty of Economics, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Faculty of Social Science, Faculty of Agriculture, and Faculty of Engineering. Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo intend to strengthen mutual partnership and collaboration with many partners for the quality improvement. Therefore, we welcome all the parties, especially to the University of Saint Anthony, to collaborate with us in international linkage for conducting student and staff mobility, joint research and publication, and also joint seminar and conference. Finally, to the keynote speaker and all participants, I would like to express my apology if there is any inconvenience during this conference. And on behalf of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, I wish an inspiring and wonderful conference. Ladies and gentlemen, by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the International Conference on Business and Industry Innovation 2020 is officially closed. Have a nice conference and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Bapak Rektor for the opening remarks. Excellencies, participants, ladies and gentlemen, next we are going to give the floor to the primary session, and we are kindly invite the keynote speakers of this conference today, the very special guests. The first is Mrs. Maria Joyce Iglesia Idian, Doctor of Business Administration from University of St. Anthony, Philippines, and then Mrs. Hayati Muktiasi, PhD from Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Yogyakarta, and then Mrs. Dr. Dwi Irawati SE, MSE from Universitas Muhammadiyah, Purworejo. This session will be moderated by Mr. Tusino. Before going to the panel discussion, may I briefly introduce to you our moderator today. His name is Mr. Tusino. Good morning, Mr. Tusino.
Good morning, Rika.
Okay, and he was in Purworejo, August 1982, and he is the lecturer of English Language Education Program in Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, and also the director of International Relations Office of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo. His interests are in English language teaching, applied linguistics, and also technology-enhanced learning. I ask the participant to give your full attention to our moderator and the keynote speaker today and help me in welcoming them. Mr. Tusino, please welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you to all the keynote speakers and participants for joining the International Conference on Business and Industry Innovation 2020. The theme of the conference today is Business and Industries Reshaping. Well, this theme is really current and very needed to be discussed because COVID-19 outbreak. Ladies and gentlemen, as everybody knows, COVID-19 is not only a global pandemic and public health crisis, but it also has severely affected the global business and economy. So many business practitioners, researchers, scholars are seeking strategies and solutions to cope these problems. This interesting and up-to-date topic will be clearly presented by our distinguished keynote speaker today, Dr. Maria Joyce Iglesia Idian from University of St. Anthony, Philippines, Dr. Dwi Irawati from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, Dr. Hayati Muktiasi from Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Indonesia. Yeah, welcome to all our distinguished speakers today. To begin with, let me read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Maria. Dr. Maria is the current Dean of the College of Business Education, University of St. Anthony, Iriga City, Philippines. She leads auditor for ISO 9001 person and the set marine accreditation requirement for the College of Maritime Education. She also the program head, Master of Business Administration, Graduate Studies and Research, University of St. Anthony. She currently teaches economic and business management courses both in undergraduate and graduate studies. She got bachelor degree from Ateneo de Naga. Then she finished her master degree in business and administration in USAN, University of St. Anthony, Philippines. And finally, she graduated her doctor PhD degree in business from Ateneo de Naga University. Well, these are the curriculum vitae. Our first keynote speaker, Dr. Maria. Yeah, without further ado, let's invite our first keynote speaker, Dr. Maria. For Dr. Maria, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Tocino, for that introduction. Good morning to all the participants of today's webinar on business and industry reshaping. To all the organizers and facilitators there in Indonesia, other speakers, also to the faculty of the College of Business Education here in the University of St. Anthony, all other participants from USANT, my dear students, both from the undergraduate and graduate programs, former students who are already in the business world, a pleasant morning to all of us. So, may I have my slide, please? Okay. My topic is on business environment and its coping strategies during COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide. Okay, so I would like to start my presentation with some preliminaries. Preliminary information on some economic indicators for us to understand the business environment. What is the current and previous economic performance in the business world in Southeast Asia, in Philippines, and in Indonesia? This indicator includes population, GDP, or the gross domestic product, which pertains to the final output, either be goods or service produced by an economy for a period of time. It will also include information about employment, industry performance, before and while there is this spread of coronavirus. It will also be followed by coping strategies of industry players while respective economies are experiencing great economic lags due to pandemic. Then, presentation will be more focused on 10 hubs in digital marketing, a takeaway of this webinar, which I believe it will serve as a strategy of various business industry players in introducing changes in business operation, specifically introduce innovation to sustain at least a sale amidst crisis. And then references will be mentioned along the presentation. So next slide, please. So to start, from 2018 to 2019, the world population continues to increase from above 7 billion people already. In Southeast Asia, of about 662 million, in the Philippines, around 110 million Filipino, while in Indonesia, 273 million, and expected to continue to increase. At the end of 2019, we were caught by the increasing spread of coronavirus across all economies until this year, causing a lot of fear and deaths to human race. Currently, the same source taken last October 19, 2020, that the world COVID-19 cases were already above 40 million, which top economies like US and India were all have high incidence of COVID-19. In the Philippines, it's already above 356,000 COVID positive, with the deaths of about 6,000 people. And in Indonesia, 361,000, above to that number, and the death incidence is already 12,000, which even after 10 months since the start of the spread of this coronavirus, it is still increasing in number. That is very alarming, not just to the World Health Organization, but also to government leaders as how they will stop this, but it is also alarming to all sectors of the economy, including business owner, as how they will survive in the market. Oxford Economics published the world GDP performance and its forecast that the world gross domestic product had slowed down across the developed and developing countries even before the pandemic. And this is attributed to weakening trade activity and slow domestic investment, which implies that there is a presence of market uncertainty and it remains to challenge the global economic environment. Before the pandemic, the world growth output is at 3.0 in 2018, 2.3 in 2019, and expected to be at the rate of 2.5 rate, a little increase in 2020. In Southeast Asia, where Indonesia and Philippines belongs, it has 5.7 in 2018, 4.8 in 2019, and expected to be at 5.2 in 2020. Specifically, in Indonesia, the GDP is at 5.2 in 2018, 5.0 in 2019, currently at a negative 0.3 on the first quarter of 2020. And in the Philippines, the GDP is at 6.4 in 2018, 6.5 in 2019, and to its lowest at negative 15.2 on the second quarter of 2020. This is coming from tradingeconomics.com. This is due to the pandemic. A lot of industry players were forced to follow the implementation of lockdown. Transportation of commodity and food items was limited, resulting to a very low rate on manufacturing, trading, causing further low-income productivity to our workers, hence low purchasing power. Some even was displaced due to company closure, including the giant ABS-CBN in the Philippines, causing a high unemployment rate in our country. Based from the same source taken last October 8, 2020, the world labor employment rate is at 54.3 in 2018, slight increase to 55.8 in 2019, with increase in the world labor force. With that expectation, there's a massive slow employment in 2020, resulting to 53.2. The economies prioritize the health and survival of the population against the threat of spreading coronavirus. In Southeast Asia, employment rate based on employment to population ratio is at 59.4 in 2018, 59.1 in 2019, and expected to be at 58.8 in 2020. Whereas in the Philippines, the unemployment is at 5.3 in 2018, 5.1 in 2019, and at its highest of 18.0 in 2020 on the second quarter based from the source Focus Economics, August 2020. In Indonesia, with almost the same trend at 5.3 in 2018 and 2019, and 5.23 in 2020 first quarter. This implies that both Philippines and Indonesia has almost the same unemployment rate performance in 2018 and 2019. However, Philippines has its highest in 2020, unlike Indonesia, who remains at almost the same from the previous. This lowering employment performance indicated low purchasing power to consumers, dictating low production target, not just the fast-moving commodities, but all sectors that are mostly affected by this economic lockdown caused by pandemic. For the industry sector, before the pandemic, top-performing industries includes mining, utilities, retail, tourism, hotel and restaurant, oil and gas, media, among others, according to Standard & Poor ratings. These industries are the ones who adapt innovation have already developed their own competitive edge in the market. Same source also issued that the most affected industry during this pandemic, number one, is the tourism, of about 60 to 70% down. Transportation, both land, air, and water. Hotel and restaurant, due to the controlled mobility, both local and international. Food and beverages were also affected together with shopping malls. And a little increase is seen in electronics due to high need for online transaction, delivery services, and high demand for disinfectant. Next slide, please. Next slide. So in the business environment, with the increasing population, decreasing economy's productivity, and lowering purchasing income of consumer contributes to a high market uncertainty. Add to that is the presence of fear of COVID-19, lack of government intervention to business industry players, and other challenging problems in the market, including the natural problems like typhoon and man-made problems, which include social and political issues. This adds to the needs of the business player to develop competitive edge to survive in the market. There is a need to innovate, to adjust with the current market situation. Need to consider change, identify and focus on the new aligned production, operation, advertising, and marketing strategies that will keep them productive, gives employees importance and security despite maybe of low profit for a period as the market adjusts. So with that, I would like to present the coping strategies of industry players on how they are going to cope and survive to sustain business during these pandemic times. Next slide. And I would like to start with the first one, assess your company. Assess your company's situation by identifying the strength and the weaknesses. Assessment means getting ready. Know the internal operation and external factors affecting your company's operation, the processes, employees' productivity. Understand consumers' mindset. Don't invest on the things which are not significantly needed in the current new production scheme. Familiarize what is going in the market and be updated. With this, business owners, entrepreneurs will be abreast with the current market situation and getting familiar with the possible consumer responses, common trends, and the market position of your product. Number two on the slide is work with the authorities. Follow health protocols, which includes provision of disinfectant in your workplace, wearing of face mask and face shield, coordinate with public health officers and law enforcement as to the guidelines on how against the COVID-19 coronavirus. This way, entrepreneurs are making workplace with its employees safe and secure while working. Next slide. Next is allow work arrangement like telecommunicating, flexi time, work, compressed work, part-time, employees' choice of day off, even job sharing and seasonal work. This allows safe production scheme while safeguarding your employees. Comfortable working arrangement is a big part in introducing change in work operation. This can usually be coupled with provision of some related pandemic trainings and acquisition of new knowledge towards company's operation. And number four, plan for post-crisis with its contingency plan. Here, you have to identify what are your priority resources. Check company's capabilities, the financial side, employees, the logistic needs, technical and physical condition of your company. Use this to plan for your future operation. Identify what is the key risk. focus on recovery. As the economy recovers, company players should also recover. Draft a contingency plan that should provide procedure considering systematic design of your formulated strategies. Consider your employees' healing because they are also stressed because of this pandemic. Companies recover with priority of your consumer safety. And then next slide po. Consider internet as your best friend. You need to strengthen digital communication, the capability to communicate from you as a good or service provider to your consumer. Allow your company to shift in digital marketing because this is not the new trend now. You have to go to e-marketing. Next slide. So with that, I would like to present the 10 hubs in digital marketing, which starts with have a high internet connectivity. This can improve the means of communication, can increase capability in communicating, targeting sales from consumers through available social media. It's now easy to establish connection with your consumers through social media. To have a website that is super user, easy to navigate by the consumer in getting product information, allowing to explain your product value, how to buy, and even have a room for question and answer as a feedback to identify areas for improvement of your product. This way, your website becomes useful and functional to both your company and target consumers. And this should be timely and responsive. Next, have an engaging social media campaign. Advertising campaign must be effectively able to pull consumer with complete product information. No fake news, please. Provide what is the true product, what is the content of your product or service. Because if you provide fake news, this will lose your customer loyalty that eventually will lose or pull down future sales. Then have an online chat rooms for short and concise webinars, which will serve as an alternate to present your product in the absence of face-to-face. And next slide, please. On the next slide, have a good online payment scheme that is intuitive and easy, not confusing, not too lengthy, and therefore should be consumer friendly. Then 6, have a regulatory requirements, all business permits for you to exist legally, data protection, data sharing agreement if it's necessary. This will protect your company and your consumer. Then have a sure, quick product or service delivery. This is very important now. This should be fast and inexpensive in response to the value of the product or service. Then have a good interconnectedness with the third-party provider, like your supplier. You should have a good relationship always with your supplier because that is the source of your raw materials. That is also the variable that is needed for you to have an output in your production. Then 9, have an added service that you offer, not only one, but 2 or more products. So that in that way, your consumer can buy not just one product, but 2 or more products in one transaction that allows them to save time and effort. And number 10, have these 10 hubs be understood by all employees, especially your marketing staff in your organization. Let them understand why these hubs needs to be strictly implemented, emphasize on the aims and objectives, because in that way, your sales marketing will have more commitment to make sales, have trust and integrity on their work, despite of the hardship in making sales. So with that, sharing the coping strategies and 10 hubs presented will help industry players to reshape their business operation. Government should take its role as the famous father of the modern economics have shared to us, John Maynard Keynes, that during recession and depression, government role is very important. So hence, in these times, government support is very much needed, providing business incentives, infrastructure such as the availability of high-speed internet access. This will give edge to the business environment. As the economy recovers, again, industry players should also recover. And before I end this presentation, I'd like to mention the quote of the famous Robert Kiyosaki that he said on the last slide, please, that he said that innovation is the key. Only those who have the agility to change with the market can innovate quickly and can survive in the market. So that's it. Thank you very much for listening to me, and thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for really great presentation from Dr. Maria, talking about the business environment and also the strategies to cope the challenges of business during COVID-19 outbreak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's come to our second speaker. That is Dr. Dwi Irawati from Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, Indonesia. Before the presentation, let me read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Irawati. Dr. Irawati is a senior lecturer at the Economic Faculty, Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo. Hello, Ibu Irawati. She's really experienced and well-versed in numerous research programs and community services. She has strong background in financial management. She has some skills like organizational skills, strong decision maker, curriculum development, class management, and service focus. She has various experiences in her careers. She's currently the Dean of Economic Faculty, the Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo. She has cooperated with the Development Planning Agency at subnational level. She also has cooperation with Indonesia Stock Exchange Yogyakarta. She also carry out supervision and quality assurance to discover errors and optimize learning processes. She got a PhD degree from Department of Management, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Indonesia in 2017. Well, in this occasion, Dr. Irawati will talk about business redesign, Indonesian perspective. I think we come to the presentation from Dr. Ira. For Dr. Ira, the floor is yours.
As mentioned by moderator, my name is Dwi Irawati and friends call me Ira. For this occasion, I will share about the pandemic effects on economic, business, behavior, society, etc., so that we can take the most of it. First of all, we will take a look at how it disrupts. Then we will suggest what is required to keep in mind while reshaping our redesign the business. Next slide. Okay, this is our condition since the Indonesian government announced the COVID-19 had entered Indonesia on March 2nd, 2020. The seventh month of its existence, COVID-19 had brought many changes. Various aspects of human life have changed as a form of adaptation to the pandemic. As I mentioned earlier, it affects and disrupts on economic, business, behavior, society, and etc. But in my opinion, actually it's not only disrupted. Pandemic has accelerated the adoption of technology by the society, by consumers, producers, and governments. Next slide. Here we see the economic growth, the Indonesian changes in the first and the second quarter 2018 to 2020 based on the pre and during COVID-19 condition. Economic growth in the first and the second quarters of 1918 to 1992 is around 5%. The decline started this year when the pandemic began. In the first quarter of 2020, the growth was recorded at 2.97%. In the same period, in 2019, it was recorded at 5.07%. It was a decrease of 2.1%. Meanwhile, the difference in the second quarter is bigger. We obtained economic growth in the second quarter of 2020 was minus 5.32%, while in the second quarter of 2019, it was 5.05. There was a decrease of 10.37%. I think it's happened all of the country in the globe. The next slide. The impact of COVID-19 on changes in the Asian economic. 6 countries in ASEAN experienced economic decline during the pandemic, and we can see here that Philippines is the worst, I think, and Indonesia is the third. The Philippines became the country with the largest economic decline in the second quarter of 2020. Its economic growth in the second quarter of 2020 when compared to the second quarter of 2019 recorded decline of 22%. The Philippines is technically experiencing in recession after the first quarter contracted by 0.7%. The record of economic contraction in the second consecutive quarter was influenced by the implementation of strict lockdown in the country. Next slide. How many businesses in Indonesia affected by the pandemic? Now I will talk about the pandemic effects on Indonesia and the business in Indonesia. As an illustration, we serve data about the pandemic impact related to micro, small, medium, and large businesses based on the Central Bureau of Statistics survey within a limited scope. We see here that number of micro, small, and medium enterprises in Indonesia have as many 64 million. I think it's very huge. As many as 30% disrupted. And Central Bureau of Statistics surveyed on 34,558 micro, small, medium, and large businesses. Micro and small business 84% suffered in income decrease. 10% suffered in stop operation. And then 59.8% still operating normally, but 24 to 28% reduced its production capacity. Medium and large businesses, 82% suffered in income decreases, and 5% suffered in stop operation. 49.4% still operating normally, with 24 to 28% reduced its production capacity. And we see here that agricultural businesses slightly affected. Next slide. How does the COVID-19 change the economic? I'm sure that we are really prepared to face the pandemic COVID-19. But we can see that the pandemic has accelerated changes in aspects of human life in economic, business, behavioral, societal, governance, and scientific expertise, but also disrupted the usual practice of them. We cannot run the business as usual. We have to change something to face the pandemic effects. The globalization shift away from the globalization of things in favor of more visual globalizations. The integration of supply chains is moving more strongly in the meantime. Next slide. We will see what happened to the behavior of the consumer. Behavioral changes. Behavioral changes seem to be connected with personal protections. We usually, such as the use of face masks, respect of social distance, and stay at home. Extreme increase in the usage of internet and social media, more remote work, and then we less flying. We prefer to cash holding and also less interested in investing and more interested in saving our capital. Next slide. What's look like market during COVID-19? We can say that some businesses are struggling. Some business, especially internet business, are thriving. We can say such online shopping, online education, food delivery, public health services related with healthcare and medication, as well as herbs and vitamins. People will change their consumption patterns, increasing the demand for take-out of snacks, more spend time at home. This is connected with the large-scale social restriction. People tend to use social media more, and in some cases even prefer to social media over physical interaction. Retailers also faces many short-term challenges, such as related to the supply chains, cash flow, customers' demand, sales, and also marketing. The pandemic has accelerated technology adoption. In my opinion, the COVID pandemic is not disrupt. I think it's only accelerated technology adoption in the business transaction as well as boosted the emerging of new entrepreneurs. This is the positive effect, I think. boosted the emerging of new entrepreneurs, but there are also contagion effect of the emerging of entrepreneurs. We will discuss later. Next slide. How about the finance market during COVID-19? We can see that depletion of bank profits and increased credit risk since the pandemic severely affected small and medium businesses as well as low income and minimum wage individuals. Banks are transforming into digital banks to maintain their efficiency and market share in addition to increasing market access. The increasing collaboration between banks and financial technology, and then in short-term consideration, 6 to 18 months period, governments should notice the impact of the pandemic on employment and economic activity, job creation, fiscal stimulus package. Different from Philippines, I think, we have a very huge fiscal stimulus package. Government disbursed many aids for small, medium enterprises or small and medium businesses in Indonesia. But I think it's not just about the aid. We have to empower them. In Indonesia, the serious problem is the actors of micro, small, and medium businesses is very low in technological literacy. Then, in the longer term, governments need to consider the pandemic effects. It's on human and social capital, technologies, physical capital, and fundamental market failures. It's in longer term. We have to aware these pandemic effects and on human and social capital. We are more rarely to interaction on site. Yeah, we are interaction on virtual by using internet and other technology, social media, etc. Next slide. And this is what will the economic and social landscape look like in the post-pandemic world. In my opinion, the digital economy will play the increasing role in the recovery of the economic. I'm sure the digital economic, it is the technology will lead the economic activity, not only in economic, but also in education, in government services, public services, etc. And how we deal with it. I'll show you seven things how to deal with the post-pandemic. 1. Build an ecosystem upon the digital economic. Entrepreneurs need to adopt a platform approach that enable multiple players to solve issues together. Leveraging digital economic, not only in position to adapt their own business to meet new challenges, but also to help others to recovery. Companies should focus more on business flexibility, automation, and augmented. But in my opinion, automation fits for particular repetitive jobs, and augmented by artificial intelligence is more likely to supplement human creativity than to replace it. I agree with Maria that artificial intelligence is not the one. Yeah. It has to be accompanied by human creativity and innovation, so we can survive in the pandemic era. Companies need to implement a long-term transition to the post-pandemic world. The company should redefine corporate purpose, empower their stakeholders, and collaborate and partners. This is the key. Collaboration and partner between business actors must be supported by strong micro, small, medium, and large businesses, and also cooperative. In Indonesia, cooperative is one of the main finance institution. A change is needed to more resilient supply networks. Increasing a local production of a great variety of goods and diverse sources. As we know that industrialization must be based on sectors and business actors that involve many people. At the same time, we have to use local raw materials according to superior products and local wisdom, since the global supply chains disrupted by the pandemic. Online retail prevails, greater economic participation from marginalized population. I think that's what I to share with you. We can enrich with discussion later. It has been an honor to present my perspective before you all. Thank you. Have a great day. Ms. Lucino, please.
Thank you for Dr. Ida for really inspiring and great presentation this morning. Talking about some benefit and challenges related to economy during COVID-19 outbreak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we come to our third speaker. That is Dr. Hayati Mukti Asih from Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Yogyakarta. Good morning, Dr. Hayati. Please, your mic still mute. I think, Dr. Hayati, your mic still mute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr.
Mr.
Yeah,
Lucino.
thank you, Dr. Hayati. Yeah. Well, before coming to the presentation, let me read the curriculum vitae of Dr. Hayati. Okay, Dr. Hayati is a faculty member of Industrial Engineering Department, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Indonesia. She also becomes editor-in-chief, International Journal of Industrial Optimization. Next, about educational background. She got bachelor degree from Industrial Engineering, Universitas Islam Indonesia, Yogyakarta, and then she got master degree from Manufacturing Engineering from University Technical Malaysia, Malacca, and then she got PhD degree from Manufacturing Engineering, also the same university, University Technical Malaysia, Malacca. And she also get honors and award from Zamalah Fellowship, University Technical Malaysia Malacca, and also Malaysian International Scholarship from Ministry of Higher Education of Malaysia. Well, let's invite Dr. Hayati to present her topic this morning. So for Dr. Hayati, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to see my slides, please. Sorry, my slide, please. Okay, while we are waiting for my slides, maybe I can have like some introduction. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the chairman, moderators, all speakers, and all participants in Indonesia and Philippines. Bye-bye. Hello. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo for inviting me in this international conference on business and industry innovation 2020. Please let me introduce myself. My name is Hayati Muktiasih. I'm a lecturer of Industrial Engineering Department, Faculty of Industrial Technology, Universitas Ahmad Dahlan, Indonesia. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, first of all, we start on the World Health Organization. The graph shows that the daily new cases of COVID-19 disease has increased over the period January to September 2020. Then we can see that the highest new cases is in America, and then followed by the Southeast Asia and Europe. Okay, and it also happens in Indonesia and Philippines also, right? And then according to the survey of the 2,500 respondents in Indonesia that is conducted on the February to March 2020, 80% of Indonesian respondents are afraid of contracting the COVID-19 disease. Okay, next slide, please. So that it affects on the changes of the customer behavior. According to the Yusuf Hadi, he stated that there are 4 mega shift consumer behavior. The first one is the stay-at-home lifestyle. Yeah, as we know that before COVID-19 disease, we are just like in a home, just like doing some unproductive works. But then currently, we are required to do some productive works, something like working from home, school from home, something like that. And then the second one is the bottom of the pyramid. The basic needs become the most priority. Why? Because as we know, the impact of COVID-19 is the economy is slowing down. So that many people tend to prioritize their their basic needs first. And then the third one is the empathic society. And the higher new cases of COVID, the higher empathic society. So you can see that there are many charities from many communities to in order to help the COVID-19 disease. And then the fourth one is the go virtual. The data they already presented before, and then the government rules that we have to do social distancing. Yeah, so the digital marketing or the digital media has a play significant roles to trade or to sell the products to the customer. Next slide. So directly or not, it affects on the how we manage the business. Okay, next slide. AI or artificial intelligence and its technologies like machine learning, deep learning, chatbot, neural network, virtual assistant, and others are fundamentally reshaping the business and organizational process of companies. AI is a general term that involves the use of computer to model intelligent behavior with minimal human intervention. Okay, and then AI has a new way to manage the informations. It has a challenges and opportunities for the organization. But then seizing these opportunities requires a change in a culture, mentality, and the skills. Okay, next slides. Although AI is already in use in thousands of companies around the world, most big opportunities have not yet been tapped. Why? Because that we have to the culture itself and then the skills and etc. Okay, next. AI opportunities in business. There are 3 opportunities that I would like to discuss in this presentation. The first one is to improve and automate the business process. For example, JD.com uses the autonomous drones, automated fulfillment centers, and delivery robots to transform its retail operations. Next slide. As you can see, this is the picture of JD.com in Shanghai. They have a fully automated warehouse. They have a system of automated machinery, robots, and autonomous vehicles that can work to pick and pack the orders. And then the next slide. Around January and February 2020, JD.com also uses the automated warehouse to deliver the daily orders while protecting from the coronavirus. Okay, next slide. The second opportunities of AI in business is to AI can offer more intelligent products and services. For example, in Tesla uses AI to produce the smarter products. Next slide. Yeah, this is the Tesla's new autopilot. Tesla developed algorithm for the car to drive by itself and build the decision-making system that operates in complicated real-world situation under uncertainty. Okay, next slide. The third opportunities of AI is AI can change the way they understand and interact with customers. For example, Facebook uses AI to get more to know the customer. And then the other example is big data analysis in marketing. Next slides. Okay, I will use this as my example. This is from many cases in that picture. The algorithm in Facebook already know my face, so that when my friends posted my photo, the Facebook know that this face is Hayati, so and ask me directly to tag myself. You see the square inside around in my face, right? So this is the way of the Facebook recognize me, something like that. Okay, next slide. Yeah, the data from shopping history. For instance, the company can predict what is the customer behavior, what is the pattern of the customer demand, something like that, from the shopping history or from the how the customer buy a product or something like that. And then that behavior can be our best influence that behavior and risk customers potential value. Okay, next slides. Okay, besides the opportunities, AI has a challenges. First, develop AI awareness and skills. Developing core skills in-house and then bring in external expertise to boost capacity and ensure you to transfer skills and expertise back into your company. And then AI is difficult, so that it's not only like a skill, so that in a company they have the one that can do AI itself. And then the second one is the secure the right data. The data actually is the raw material for AI. The better data, it means the better AI algorithms. If we have a bad data, it will be like a garbage in, garbage out, or wrong data will have wrong solutions, something like that. And then the third one is the update your technology and IT system. Not only the algorithm, but then they need a hardware, a good hardware, like data storage and processing power, something like that. Okay, and the next one, next slide. The next one is the use artificial intelligence ethically. Yeah, because there are a huge data of the customer, so we have to keep that privacy, the private of the customer data itself. And then manipulation of behavior is one of the issues in the ethical of the usage of the artificial intelligence. And then the last one is we have to prepare yourself for artificial intelligence disruptions. AI has potential to take on many jobs and tasks that today are done by highly skilled professionals. So we have to be more innovative, more skills to face the future. Okay, next slides. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We open for the questions.
Dr. Hayati for great presentation this morning. So, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to come to question and answer session from the participants. There have been a lot of questions from the participants in from the chat forum this morning. So I'm going to read the first question. So to all the keynote speakers, Dr. Hayati, Dr. Maria, and Dr. Ira, you may directly respond the question from the participants today. Well, the first question from the participant: what should the industry, retailers, and government do to increase the product sale in this pandemic era? I refresh again. What should the industry, retailers, and the governments do to increase the product sales in this pandemic era? Who's going to answer first? Maybe
Hello?
Dr.
Hello?
Yes, please, Dr. Maria, are you going to respond the question?
Hello, yes, sir, Mr. Tessino.
Yeah, okay, please.
First, I would like to say thank you to the one who raised that question. As I've mentioned on my presentation, that during these times of pandemic, the government role is very much important. Government should assist industry players in terms of policies. Government should support programs that would help business players, say for example, providing high access to high internet accessibility to these small business players would help them to shift from and to respond correctly to the consumer's behavior shift. Nowadays, small players in the market could sell their product through social media. But if there's no internet connection in their area, which can be provided by local government unit or government, national government, so it will also have a weak marketing target on the side of small or big players. So it would be really unnecessary that government just not think of stopping the COVID-19 on the side of the health sectors, but also assist business players. Okay, and also retailers can now transact through digital marketing. As other speakers may also agree that you could now place orders through internet connectivity in social media, and payment scheme can be through banks. So I hope I answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the enlightenment, Dr. Maria. I'm going to be a great answer. Dr. Hayati, maybe you want to add some more information about the question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Turisino. Maybe besides of the how we sell the products in the social media, and then we can add the we have a Shopee, Lazada, or something like that. So we play on we have to learn how to use the e-commerce itself, like shopping, Lazada, Shopee, Lazada, or something like that. So we have to learn. Before COVID, actually, I have no idea about how to use Shopee or something like that. But then, during the COVID, I have to, in order to increase my sales, my products. That's the one. And then the second one is we have to make our product innovative. Like what we have, like a COVID, they have we have to use like mask or something like that. Maybe for instance, I sell clothes. Maybe I can add a discount, or maybe no discount. I mean additional gift for mask to in the if the customer buy a product from me or something like that. So like we have to adapt it in this COVID area, something like that. Mr. Tusino.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hayati, for the enlightenment. So maybe Dr. Ira has another ideas related to the question for enhancing the product sales in this pandemic for the industry, retailers, and the government. Oh. Okay. Dr. Ira, are you going to add some more about information how to increase the product sales in this pandemic?
Pardon?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ira. Maybe you have another ideas to increase the product sales in this pandemic for the industry, retailers, and the government. So what should they do?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tusino. As I said earlier or before, that between customers and producers, they have to collaborate. I mean that customers have to be more familiar with technology or social media. I mean, the producers also, because the pandemic COVID-19 disrupted all of the aspect of human's life, especially in supply chains. It's also disrupted. The global supply chain disrupted, and we have to focus on local raw materials. We have, or we can't produce our superior products with local wisdom, using local materials. I think that's my opinion. Since we cannot rely on global supply chains. Mr. Tusino.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ira, for giving additional information about the first questions. Well, we come to the second questions. The second question is really related to the first speaker, the first question. The second question is, what should small industry do to be able to compete in Industrial Revolution 4.0 and Industrial Society 5.0? Maybe Dr. Maria or Dr. Hayati first may respond the question. What should small industries do to be able to compete in this Industrial Revolution 4.0 and Society 5.0? Can you get my words, Dr. Hayati, maybe? Or Dr. Maria? Yeah, Dr. Maria, can you get my words? Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So the second question is, what should small industries do to be able to compete in this industrial revolution 4.0?
Okay.
So the small industry.
First, for small industry, uh, I think first you have to do is to assess first the strength and weaknesses of your company, and then from the strength you develop something that you could top it. Say for example, your product could be sold online, and then you shift to digital marketing so that your product could go somewhere in your locality or in your country, and from there you develop a marketing arm, distribution arm, so that you can make profit, because the importance now in this pandemic time is to at least sustain a sale, not to compete with uh, other big products that are already in the market. You check first your financial status, the capability of your people, if your people can go to work, or design a work arrangement uh, to at least make a sale. Since small players have a lot of limitations. So check first on the strength, on the local products as your resources, and from there make a sale. It's so hard to compete to a large producer, market leader, if you are small. So focus on what you have, what resources you have. And then from there, you develop marketing strategies from your operation, the processes of your production, until you sell the product in the market. Because in these times, it's so hard for people to buy products. They only confine the buying condition of consumers to basic. So that's it, Mr. Tocino. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Maria, for good answer. I think. Yeah. Maybe Dr. Hayati,
Okay,
could you
thank you,
add
Mr.
some more? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tusino. Okay, besides what I have to talk to you before about the marketing in social media, we have like in how to compete for a small business. The first one is how you collaborate from the supplier until the distributor before the customer. This is a good collaboration. Before from the supplier until the distributor. I think if you have a good collaboration, you can manage your small business better. Why? Because if we have like if we want to innovate the products, we can do it together with the supplier until the distributor, something like that, Dr. Tusino.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hayati, for additional information about what should a home industry do to cope this problem. Maybe Dr. Ira, you can add some more information about these questions.
But I always stress or emphasize on that
That
micro, small,
micro,
medium, and
small,
large
medium,
businesses
and large businesses
are
in
very
Indonesia
low
are very low.
Mas-
Government have to train them very well, especially in social media usage. And after that, the producers and the customers that are marginalized, new entrepreneurs that are marginalized, can compete with the industrial era. I think, especially in the post-pandemic era, in the post-pandemic world. That's Mr. Tusino.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ira, for the answers. Well, everyone, we come to the next questions about what is the most effective, okay? What is the most effective of marketing and integration of marketing in this pandemic era? What is the most effective marketing and also the integration of marketing in this pandemic era?
Hello?
Yeah, maybe Dr. Maria first or Dr. Hayati will respond to the questions.
Sir, Mr. Tusino.
Yeah.
Sir, since this pandemic does not allow us to go out,
Yeah.
we are advised to stay at home. I think the best to do marketing is to go to social media. Maximize the opportunity for you to sell of what is available there in the social media. In our locality, some small players even sell their simple plant because now there are, we call it those who are certified plantita. If you have heard that also, they picture it in the best picture and upload it, and then they make system on how they sell their product. So I think the best way for a small players to sell their product, since they have absence of distribution line to these malls and big stores, is to maximize the availability of social media. If you don't have access to collaborate with those big players who have website, you use your Facebook account, your connectivity to people through the social media, and post your product there. And from there, you can make profit. You can sell your product. I think that's the simple way right now. Okay?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Maria, for the answers, for the great answers, by focusing on social media and other kind of facilities in technology. Well, maybe Dr. Hayati has another ideas.
Okay, actually, I'm same opinion with Mr. Maria, which is yeah, we have to use the social media because we need to do social distancing. The media is not only Facebook, it's not only Instagram, but then like Shopee, Lazada, or another things like Tokopedia or something like that. It's good for us, like a small business maybe. We just can upload our products, then we can sell our products in through that platform. Something like that, Mr. Tusino.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hati. Still have quite similar ideas by using social media, right? Maybe Dr. Ira has another ideas related to the question, the most effective way for enhancing the marketing.
Okay. I agree with Maria and Hayati that the most effective marketing in the pandemic era is via social media. I think it is. But what must be understood is trust. Producers can be trusted. We cannot. We have the producers have to share what they have, but the quality with the price and etc. So the consumers will not doubt about their products. I think that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ira, for adding some information about how we improve the marketing during this pandemic situation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think question and answer session is enough for this occasion. So again, thank you to all the participants for the questions, for the great question. Also, thank you for all the keynote speakers for inspiring and fruitful information this morning. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's come to the concluding remark of the conference this morning. These unfolding may have a lasting structural impact on the global economy or even short-term financial and economic consequences. COVID-19 gives benefits and also challenges of business and economy practices. This pandemic gives opportunity for accelerating technology in business and commerce. The challenges are market uncertainty, fear, natural and social issues during COVID-19 outbreak. Some aspects to ponder are behavioral changes, consumer behavior, market environments. Therefore, we need to carry out systematic and systemic preparedness to cope these challenges. The keyword here, the business practitioners should have innovation. Once again, the innovation is the key to be able to survive in this pandemic situation as business practitioner. Once again, thank you to all the keynote speakers, Dr. Maria, Dr. Hayati, and Dr. Ira. Hoping that we can see again in another occasion in more fruitful conference. I hope that this discussion during the conference will be beneficial for us, those who join this conference. So thank you for the opportunity, and I give back the floor to the moderator. Once again, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kusino, for moderating the primary session today. Terima kasih, Bu Ira and Bu Dr. Hayati Muktiasih. And also, maraming salamat po for Mrs. Maria for the interactive discussion. Okay, Excellencies, distinguished guests, participants, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for the primary session and also the end of the International Conference on Business and Industry Innovation, or ICBII 2020 today. For closing the whole agenda, let's say Hamdallah together. As the final remarks, I'm pleased to say thank you very much for the keynote speakers, the Rector of Universitas Muhammadiyah Purworejo, the moderator, organizing committees, backstage supporters, and also all participants of ICBII 2020 for your full attention. We also appreciate you taking time and engaging during your busy schedule to join us today. Hope you enjoy all sessions of the exciting conference that we have lined up for you, and may we meet again in the next program. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you. Paalam. Goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Paalam.